Okay, so guys, the flow of our video will remain same. First, I'll be discussing the question, then the approach of that question, and then finally, I will tell you how to write the code for the same. Now, the question that I am discussing in this video is very easy. If you know a little bit of programming also, then this question is definitely for you. You will be able to solve this particular question. So, the question here is, given a number n, find its factorial. So, it's a simple factorial code that you have to write in the exam. That is, let's just see the example. Input is 5, you will have to just output the factorial of 5. Input is 4, you just have to output the factorial of 4, that is 24. So how we do factorial? What is factorial? So once the number is given as 5, so what we do? We multiply the numbers from 1 to 5, 1 to 5, and then we get our answer. So then the answer that we got is the factorial of that number. So 1 into 2 is 2, 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 4 is 24, 24 into 5 is 120. So this is our correct answer. Now let's just see for 4 factorial. So we will start multiplying the numbers from 1 to 4. 1 multiply 2, multiply 3, multiply 4. The answer here is 24. So this is the 4 factorial, this is the 5 factorial, and you can see these are the respective outputs also. So now I hope the question is clear to you, because it is very simple question that can be asked from you in any exam. So guys, please make sure that now I will be telling you how to write the code, because telling the approach is does not matter, because we all know that the approach is very simple. We just have to multiply the numbers from 1 to the number that is given to us as an input, that is n factorial. So this is n factorial. So I hope this question is clear to you, and as well as the examples are clear to you. So now let's just write the code straightforward. And if you are practicing the questions on your own at your home, so then you will have to write the main function for yourself. But in the Accenture exam, you will just have to implement the function that will be given to you. So int, so this is the function that you have to implement. Here input is the number for which you have to calculate the factorial, and return type is also int. That means you have to return the factorial of the input number. So what we do, we take a variable, let's just say int sum. We initialize it with 1. Now what we'll do, we'll simply run a loop from int I is equivalent to 1, I less than equivalent to n, I plus plus. And what we do inside it, we'll simply multiply this sum variable with the ith value. And in the end, we will simply return sum from here. So I hope now this entire function is clear to you. This is very small function that I've written. So first of all, we'll take a variable sum equivalent to 1. We will run a loop from our I is equivalent to 1, I less than equivalent to n, I plus plus, and we will multiply each I with the sum. So sum is equal to sum is equal to sum into I. That will give us this. When the entire for loop is completed, then we will do 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. So this for loop is doing that thing for us. That is, first 1 will be multiplied, then 2 will be multiplied, then 3, then 4, then 5 till n. So now I hope this function is clear to you. Now let's just run it on sample test cases. So first our input is 5. So for 5 our factorial should be 120. So let's just see if our answer is coming out to be correct. Sorry. Okay, so you can see that out for 5 output is 120. Now let's just see for 4. So for 4 our output should be 24. And guys, if you have not subscribed this channel now, please subscribe it, because many more such videos will be published in future. You can see the output is coming out to be 24. So this particular code will pass all the test cases that will be given to you. Okay, so guys, first I will be discussing the question, then I will be discussing the approach of this question, and in the later part of this video, I will be discussing how you have to write the code in the exam. So let's just discuss the question first. So the question here is, every character in the input string is followed by its frequency. So you are given an input string in which every character is followed by that character's frequency. Now you have to write a function to decrypt the string and find the nth character of the decrypted string. If no character exists at that position, then return -1. So what this question is saying, we are given a string in which there are characters present, and after every character, the frequency of that character is given. For example, like here it is A2, B3 is the input string. So here A is the character and 2 is the frequency, that how many times this character is present in this input string. Now you have to write the function to decrypt the string and find the nth character of the decrypted string. If no character exists at that position, then return -1. So our input string will be like this. And what is a decrypted string? The decrypted string of this string will be this, that is AA triple B, because A is coming 2 times, B is coming 3 times, so therefore AA triple B. Okay, so guys, there is a note also that is given to us, that is the frequency of encrypted string cannot be greater than single digit, that is always less than 10. So here you can see that here 2 is there, that is frequency of A, 3 is there, that is frequency of B. So all these numbers will be less than 10 only, that is single digit number. So I hope now the question is clear to you. Let's just see with the help of example. Now we are given an input string of this, that is this is the input string A2, B2, C2, D1. So this is a normal string. We first have to decrypt the string, and then we will have to return the fifth character that will be present in the decrypted string. So first let's just decrypt it. How we will decrypt it? We will write the number the letters based on their frequencies. So first 2 times A is coming, then 2 times B is coming, then 2 times C is coming, and then only 1 time D is coming. So this is the input string, and this is the decrypted version of input string. So now we have to find the return the fifth character that is present in the, of this decrypted string, and you can see that the fifth character is C only. So this is the fifth character, and we will simply return C. So that is our output. So I hope that the question is more clear to you. Now let's just move towards the approach, that how we'll be approaching this question. Okay, so guys, this is our encrypted string, that is that, or you can say this is our input string that is given to us. A2, B2, C2, D1. Now we have to find the fifth character. So we have to return the fifth character. We all know, we have seen that fifth character is C. Now how we will reach to this particular answer? So what we'll do, we will simply focus on the on the values that are present on the odd indexes. So you can see here it is 0 index, this is 1 index, this is 2 index, this is third index, this is fourth index, this is fifth index, this is sixth index, and this is seventh index. So we all know that on the odd indexes, that is 1, 3, 5, and 7, the frequencies are present, that is numbers are present, 2, 3, 4, or any other number that is less than 10 are present. So what we'll do, we will keep a variable name as sum, and that will be initialized with 0. Now we will while iterating over this string, we will simply focus on the odd indexes numbers. So what we'll do, first our odd number indexes come, their first index comes, so we will simply add this sum plus is equivalent to a of sum plus is equivalent to 2, because the number at index 1 is 2. So now we will check if our sum is greater than or equivalent to the 5, or 5, or the frequency, or the character that we have to return, or the position of the character that we have to return. So we will check this. What we will do after checking this, I will tell you later. So if our sum is greater than or equal to 5, so our current sum is 2, so no, it is not greater than 5. So what we'll do, we will simply move to the next iteration. Now we will look at third index, that is the next odd index, that is third index. Now again we will, inside this sum variable, we will again add the frequency that is listed at this index. So now our sum variable was earlier 2. Now we will add 2 again, 2 to it. Sorry. So now our updated sum value has now become 4 here. So now at this odd index, our sum value is 4. So again we'll check if our sum is greater than equivalent to 5, that is the position of the character that we have to return. So no, again sum is less than 5, so this if condition will not run. Now we'll move again to the next iteration, that is on the next odd index, that is 2. So our sum value was currently 4. Now we will again add this particular frequency in the sum variable, that is sum plus is equivalent to 2. Now our updated sum has become 6. So now if sum is greater than or equivalent to 5, is sum greater than or equivalent to 5? Yes. Now this if condition will run. So inside this if condition, what we'll do, we will simply return s, that is the name of the string, current index, because we know that current index was odd index, that is 5. So s of I minus 1 we will return as our answer, because see, at index 5 2 was present. So we are simply returning s of current index minus 1, that is I was 5. So s of 5 minus 1 is equivalent to s of 4, that is equivalent to s of 4 is equivalent to c here. So c is our correct answer that we will be outputting, and I hope this particular thing is clear to you. So we will simply keep on adding the frequencies that are present in the odd indexes. Once our sum is greater than or equivalent to the position that is given to us, for which we have to return the character, then inside this if condition, we will simply return the character that is present at this position, that is s of I minus 1. We will simply return this particular character because our current index was 5. So we'll simply return the value that was just before this frequency, where our sum became greater than or equivalent to the position. So here it was C. So S of I minus 1 was equivalent to C. We have simply returned this value. So now I hope the approach is clear to you. Now let's just move towards the coding part, that how we will write the code for the same. Okay, so guys, for saving the time, I have written the code beforehand only. So in Accenture exam, you will just have to implement the function in which your input will be given to you. But if you're practicing after watching this video, then you will have to write the main function on your own. But as per the exam is concerned, you will just have to implement the function that will be given to you. And in that function, you will be given two arguments. That is the input string, and then next is the position of the character's position that you have to return. So first of all, what we have done, we have declared variable sum equivalent to 0, and we have declared an answer string also in which we will store our answer. So we will be looping on the odd indexes only, as I have told you. So starting from I equal to 1, and for every iteration we will be doing I plus equal to 2, so that this entire for loop is moving around only frequencies only. So first of all, I have told you that for every frequency you will have to add that frequency in the sum variable. So we are adding that frequency in the sum variable like this. Now after that, we have to check if our sum is greater than equivalent to n. If it is true, then you just have to append your current character, that is the like you can see here, just a second. So at this particular, at this 2, what happened, your sum variable, that value got greater than equal to 5. So now in the answer string, you will have to add this C as this C as your answer. So in therefore in the answer string, we are adding str of I minus 1, not I, but str of I minus 1, and we are simply returning answer from this particular if condition only. Now if the n value is greater than the string length, or you can say if the n value, the character of the n value is not present here, then we are simply, after this for loop, we are simply returning -1, because if the answer is present, then our loop will be over here only. But if the answer is not present, in the end we will have to return -1. So I hope now the code is also clear to you. Now let's just see on certain test cases. So first of all, A2, B2, C2, D1, and we have to return fifth position. So in this case, C will be our answer that will be returned. And next we will check that if our position is changed to now sixth or seventh, you can say. So for seventh, D should be our answer. So let's just see if it runs or not. So D should be our answer. So again, you can see D is here as our answer. And if the position like 10 is there, now this 10th position does not exist in the string, then in this case, -1 should be printed. So let's just see whether it is printed or not. So you can see -1 is coming as our output. Okay, so guys, in this video also the approach will be same. First I will be discussing the question, then I will be telling you how to approach that question, and in the later part of the video I will be telling you how to write the code for the same. So guys, this question is remainder mod 11. So many of you have requested me over Telegram and in the comment section also that I should make the video on this particular question. So guys, make sure that do not skip any part of this video and watch this video till the end. So the question here is, we are given a string of maximum length 1000 representing a large number. Output its remainder modulo 11. So we will be given a large number and we will just have to output what will happen, that when we will divide that number with 11, then what will be the remainder of remainder remaining. So let's just see with the help of example. So 121. So 121, when we will divide by 11, there will be no remainder remaining. So there will be zero remainder, because 11 into 11 is 121. So there will be no remainder remaining. So therefore we have written 0. Now next is the number 1, 3, 4 and 5. So when we're dividing it by 11, so it will get it will be divided by 1, then 2, then 2 again. So when we'll do 122 into 11, then we will get 1, 3, 4, 2, I guess, and then the remainder that will be remaining will be 3. I'm sorry. So remainder remaining will be 3. So this is our output. So what do we are given a very large number in the form of a string. Now we have to divide this number by 11 and we have to output the remainder, that will be remainder remaining when we'll divide the current number by 11. So now I hope the question is clear to you. Now let's just see how we'll approach this question. Okay, so guys, for understanding the approach, we must know the basic mathematics that we have studied in our 6th or 7th class, where we know that this is a this is how we divide a number. So here you can see this is a dividend. 11 is a divisor by which we are dividing, and the factor that comes out to be is a quotient, and the last thing that is remaining is the remainder. So I hope you know all these things, And now what we'll do, we'll simply apply this particular logic of dividing a number in maths in our code. So okay, so how we will do it? So first of all, we will start dividing base by basics that we are used to do in maths. So first of all, we take the first number, that is 1. Now we see that this 1 is less than 11, so it cannot be divided by 11 further. So it means that this becomes a remainder till here. So till here, till this line, 1 becomes the remainder. Okay, so now once we know that 1 is smaller than 11, it cannot be further divided. So what we do in general maths, we call the second number after it. We call the next number after it. Now our current number becomes 13. So what we'll do, we know that the 13 can be divided by 11. So now we will simply divide it by 11. We will simply write 11. 11 ones are 11. 1 goes here. 11 ones are 11. We'll simply subtract from here. And now 2 is the remainder here. So till now what we have done, till now we know that till this point we have followed the basic mathematics rule, and till this point 2 is our remainder. Now what we do, we will take this remainder and now we will be calling the next number, because we know that 2 is less than 11, so 2 cannot be divided by 11. So now 2 is a remainder, and now with this remainder what we do, we call the next number, that is 4 here. So it becomes 24. Now we know that 24 can be divided by 11. So what we'll do, we'll simply do 24 minus 22. So that is 11 2s are 22. So here again it comes 2 as a remainder. So 2 as a remainder it comes. Now we know that this 2 as a remainder is still here. When we take 134, the 2 will be remaining remainder when we are trying to divide by 11. So now again what we'll do, we know that 2 cannot be further divided by 11 because it is less than 11. So now we will be calling the next number. Now we will be calling the next number. So now it is 25. Now again we know that 25 can be divided by 11 by 2. So again we write 2 here and we do 25 minus 22, because 22 is the factor of 11. So again now it remains 3 here. So now we came here to know that till this point our remainder is 3. That means that till the edge of this number we have reached that our remainder will be 3. So this is how we will be approaching to our code, that how we have to find the remainder. So first we will take a single number. If that number is less than 11, then we will move to we will take next number. So now total number became 13. Then we know that 13 there is a factor that is less than 13, that is a factor of 11. So we write here 1, then 11 comes here, then 2 remains as remainder. So again 2 is less than 11, so it cannot be further divided. So again we take the next number, that is 2 4 24. So now it becomes 24. 22 is the factor of 11. So 24 minus 22, then the remainder remains 2. Then we take 5 again with it, so 25. Again 22 is less than 25, so we are taking 11 to the 22. So here again remainder remains 3. So till the end of this number we have got our final remainder. And you can see that at every point when we were when you can say when we were traversing through these numbers, at every point we got a remainder. So here 2 got remainder, again 2 got remainder, again 3 was a remainder. And in the starting 1 was also a remainder, because 1 was a single digit and we were dividing it by 11. So 1 was also a remainder there. So you can see that till every point of the string we are calculating the remainders, and we are taking, once we have calculated remainder, then we are taking the next number together, and then we are again calculating the remainders. So I hope now this is a basic division that should be clear to you while writing the code. So I hope now the approach is clear to you, or I say the method that how we will be approaching this question is clear to you. We will be taking numbers one by one and then doing the modulus by 11. And in the end, when the string is over, then our 3 will be as remainder that will be given to us. So guys, I hope this approach is clear to you. Now we'll move into the coding part, that how we'll be coding it. Okay, so guys, in this approach you can see that we were taking two numbers together and then dividing by 11. So first of all, what we were doing, we were taking two numbers together, we were dividing it by 11. So the remainder that was remaining, that remainder we were adding to next number. So you can see that if our remainder was 2, so and we were calling the next number, so it became 25. So total it was becoming 25, not 2 and 5 different, or not 2 plus 7, they were becoming 25. So this you have to keep in mind, that once we have taken the remainder, that remainder must be multiplied with 10 and then added the next number. So 2 into 10 plus 5. So this is how we are adding the next number, that is remainder into 10 plus the next number, that is 5. So I hope this particular approach is clear to you. And after that, we were simply doing to calculate the remainder. After that, the thing that we have got, let's suppose it was x, so then we were doing x mod 11 to get the next remainder. So here you can see 24, next was 22, so we were basically doing 24 mod 11s, and we were getting next modulus, that is 2 here, and again the same steps were getting followed. Okay, so what we will doing, we will be given a helper function in which string will be coming as an input. Okay, so what we will first what we'll do, we will take a value int remainder, and we will initialize with 0 because initially our remainder is 0. Now what we'll be doing, since and this string is in the form of you can say every character inside the string is a number. So for every character, while performing the operation, we'll first have to convert that character into a number. So I'm writing the code side by side so that you can understand it better. So first of all, we have taken the remainder as 0. Now what we are doing, we will be iterating over our string. So first of all, int I is equal to 0, I less than str.length, I'm sorry, str.length, and then you're doing I plus plus. Now again, I have told you to keep in mind that what we were doing, we were simply taking the remainder, multiplying it by bit by 10, and then adding the next number, and then adding the next number. So let's just suppose we so first of all, what we'll do, so let's just suppose our current number is 22. Oh, sorry, current number is 24. So what will be a remainder? Remainder will be 2. So we will be doing 2 into 10 plus next number, that is 5. So how will we do it? So next number will be int number. Int number is equivalent to, this is the total number that will be forming. Like here you can see that here 25 is forming. So this is the total number that will be forming. So what will you doing? We will be taking a remainder. We will be doing it into 10 plus the next number, that is the current number, str of I minus 0. So this is how we are taking the number. So let's just suppose our str of I is 2. So it will be in the form of, so let's just suppose here our str of I is equivalent to 2. It will be in the form of character because the string, the input was a string. So we will have to convert this character into number so that we can add it into our number variable. So what we are doing, we are simply doing 2 minus this thing we are doing so that we get a number 2. So I hope this thing is clear to you. Now we have calculated the number. It is number is equal to remainder into 10 plus str of I minus 0. Then what we are doing, once we have got the number, once we have got 25. So once we have got 25, now we have to find the next remainder. So 25, simply we can do 25 mod 11 to get the next remainder. And then the steps will also follow. So first I will write in the code, and then I will be dry running this code on your approach. So now new remainder will become num mod 11. So after this loop is over, we will simply return our remainder. So let's just test it on our custom input. So let's just give it a string as 121. So it answer should be 0. Sorry, so answer should be 0, and then 1345, and then again answer should be 3, I guess. So let's just see if any errors are coming or not. So here it is 0. So let's just change this to 1345. So in this case answer should be 3. And now if it runs correct, I will be dry running the entire approach for you. So do not just switch off this video because this video is not over yet. I will be dry running this entire code for a sample test case that will be 1345 only. So what we are doing, we are given 1 3 4 5 in the form of string. Indexes are 0 1 2 3. So now let's just see what I have written in the for loop. So first of all, what we are taking, we are calculating the number that we have to divide. So number is equal to remainder into 10 plus str of I minus 0. So remainder we have started with 0. So our remainder initially is 0. Now what we are doing, we are calculating the num. So int num is equivalent to remainder into 10. Remainder into 10, that is current remainder is 0. So that is 0 into 10 plus of str of I minus 0. So our current I will be starting from here. So it will be 1. So 1 minus 0 will again become 1. So here it is 1. So our now number has become 1. So our num has become 1. Now next step was to calculate the new remainder. Remainder equal to num mod 11. So uh, remainder is equivalent to num mod 11. Num was 1 as we can see above, and 1 mod 11 is 1. So now our remainder after the first iteration has been updated to 1. So here it will be 1 here. So now again we will be calculating the next number. How we will calculate? Remainder into 10 plus the current number. Remainder into 10, that is 1 into 10 is 10 plus 3, sorry, plus 3, it becomes 13. Now what we'll doing, we will be again calculating the remainder. Remainder is 13, that is the num mod 11, that will become as 2. Now our new remainder has become 2 here. So here 2 has become. Okay, so again for the next iteration what will be going? Remainder into 10 plus 4, that is 24. Again we will be doing 24 mod 11, so it will become 2. So again our remainder remains 2 only, and now we'll move to the next iteration, that is the final iteration for 5. So again remainder is 2, so 20 plus 5, it becomes 25. Now again remainder is 25 mod 11, that is 3. And after this loop is over, because all the characters have been iterated, and once the loop is over, we are in the end returning remainder, and you can see here what is the value of remainder. It is 3 only. So we are returning this 3 value. So this code will run perfectly fine, and it will pass all the test cases that will be given to you. So guys, I hope you liked the video and you have understood the concept. It was very simple. We were just using a basic mathematics to do this particular question. So guys, please subscribe this channel and please share it among your friends, and guys do write in the comment section if you want more such videos. Okay, so guys, here the question name is frequency count. We are given the string, we have to find the frequency of each character in it. Okay, now the input string contains only lowercase letters. The output string should contain a letter followed by its frequency in the alphabetical order. So what we are given in the question, we are given a string. In that we all know string is made up of characters, so we have to find the frequency of each character in it, and that string will only contain the lowercase letters, that is the letters from small a to small z. Now, what should be the output? We have calculated the frequency of each character. Now, what is the output? The output string should contain a letter followed by its frequency in the alphabetical order. So now let's just understand this line with the help of the example. So first example is B, A, B, D, C. So here you can see that the frequency of B is 2, frequency of A is 1, frequency of D is also 1, and frequency of C is also 1. So we have calculated the frequency of each of the characters. Now, what should be the output? The output string should contain the letter followed by its frequency. So first letter should come, and then that letter's frequency should come in the alphabetical order. So first of all, A will come in the alphabetical order. First of all, A letter will come, then the frequency of A will come, that is 1. So that is 1. Then next is letter B will come, then the frequency of letter B will come. After B, in alphabetical order, C is there. So then C will come, and after C, the frequency of letter C will come, and in the end D will come, and then the frequency of D will come. So this is the final output string that we will have to return from our function. So now I hope the question is clear to you. Now I will be discussing the approach, and then I will be discussing that how we will have to write the code for this particular question. Okay, now let's just move towards the approach. So what we'll do, to calculate the frequency of each letter in the string, we will make an array. We will make an array. This is an array of size 26 because there are 26 alphabets from A to Z. Now this is the array. This starting index will be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and so on till last index will be 25. Now this array is a frequency array that we are maintaining. Here 0th index means the value at 0th index means the frequency of A. Again I am repeating, the value at 0th index means the frequency of A, the value at first index means the frequency of B, the value at second index means the frequency of C, and so on, and value of 25 value at 25 index means the frequency of Z element inside the input string. Now we have declared now in the starting we have declared an array of size 26. Initially all the values inside this array will be 0. Again, I am repeating, initially we have declared an array of size 26, and initially all the values inside this array will be 0. Now what we'll do, we will start to iterate over our input string. So this is our input string BABDC. Now we'll start to iterate over their input string, and at every character, we will update the frequency of that character in this frequency array. So first of all, our I value will be at B. Now we know that now B have come. Now in the frequency array, we will have to update the value at the first position, because this first index represents the frequency of B. Initially it was 0. So what we will do, let's just say the frequency the name of the frequency array is ARR, and now we have to fill the update the frequency of B, because our current element is B, and we know that the first index in this array represents the frequency of B. So what we'll do, we will simply do ARR of B, that is our current character, minus 97 plus equivalent to 1. Now what I have done, I will explain you. Inside this question, the entire thing is about the sky values. Entire things is about the sky value. So ARR, and in the square brackets we write the index here. But what is the index here? B minus 97. And what is the sky value of B? It will be 98 minus 97 is the sky value of A. Therefore 98 minus 97 will become 1. So in the end, what we are doing, we are updating ARR of 1 is equivalent to plus equivalent to 1. So here the value will get updated. So now our initially the value of index 1 was 0. Now it has been updated to 1. Okay, so now we are moving to the next. Let me just delete it. Now we are moving to the next character, that is A. So now we are at A. So when we are at A, what we are doing? We are simply updating the 0th index of the frequency array. And how we will get that index? We will get that index by ARR of inside the square bracket A minus 97. So whatever the character is, minus 97, because 97 is the sky value of small a, plus equivalent to 1. So now we have updated A here is the sky value of A is 97, minus 97, it will become 0. So we are in the end, we are updating ARR of 0 only, ARR of 0 only plus equivalent to 1. So now the frequency of A has again become 1. So now moving to the next iteration. Now again we will do similar thing. We will place here B minus 97 plus equivalent to 1. So this index is 1. So earlier value was 1. So 1 plus 1 will become 2. So here it will be 2. Similarly, moving to the next index, I, here we will keep it D. Here we will keep it D. The sky value of D is 100. So 100 minus 97 becomes 3. So we will update the third index. Earlier it was 0. Now it will be updated plus 1. Next character is C. So we will do similar things with C here. C minus 97. So C is 99. 99 minus 97 becomes 2. Here 2. So ARR of 2 plus equivalent to 1. Earlier it was 0. Now plus equivalent to 1. It will become 1. Now we have iterated over the entire string, and in the frequency array, that is the above array, we have got the frequencies of every element. Now we have to, what we have to do, the next step is that we have to return the output string in the form that our output string should be in the ascending order, and after every letter it should be followed by the frequency of that letter. So now what we'll do, we'll simply iterate our frequency array. Using a for loop. So first of all, we are at index 0. So first we will check if our ARR of I not equivalent to 0. This condition we are using because to check that whether this particular current character was present in our input string or not. So whether our ARR of I not equivalent to 0. So here I initially will be 0. So this if condition will run. Else we will do nothing inside the for loop. So when this if condition will run, it means that the current character, that is the 0th index character, that was A, was present in our string. So first of all, we will take out the character from it. How now using the index, we will be generating the character. Earlier, what we were doing, we were using the character to generate the index. Now we'll be using index to generate the character. So you can say that here char ch is equivalent to current index that is I plus 97. Current index was 0. So 0 plus 97 equivalent to 97. and this 97 is of the type character, so this will be equivalent to A. So now we have got current character here. So we will take before the for loop we will take an empty string answer, you can say empty string answer, and it will be initialized to empty. So after we have got the character, what we'll do, we will simply do answer plus equivalent to this character. So this character has been appended in the string. Now after this character, what we'll do, we have to append its frequency also. So after that, what we'll do, answer plus equivalent to this character's frequency, that will be equivalent to uh, you can say uh, ARR of I, and we will use a method on this ARR of I, because ARR of I will be an integer. We can use toString method of on this toString method on this particular integer. Then that integer value will be converted into string, and then that string will be added to our answer variable. So once the for loop is completed, we will be returning our answer variable. So now I hope the approach is clear to you. First of all, what we do, we have to declare an frequency array in which initially all the indexes are 0, or you can say all the values at indexes are 0. Then we have to fill the frequency at their corresponding indexes while iterating over the input string. Once our frequency array is filled, then we will be running our for loop over the frequency array, and at every iteration we will be checking whether that element was present in the input string or not. If it was present, then we will be generating a character out of the index, because 0 plus 97 will give us 97, and similarly 1 plus 97 will give us 98, and corresponding to 98 sky value, the character will be B. Now we have got the B character, we will append it to our answer string, answer plus equivalent to ch, and after that character we will be appending the frequency of that character inside the string using this toString method, and ARR of I represents the frequency of that character. Now you will be saying that how we have kept the record of that, whether the output string will be sorted or not. See, we will be running the loop from starting to end. This will be our position of running the loop. This will be our position for running the loop. So first index 0 will come, then 1, then 2, then 3. So 0 index represents A, and now using this index we are converted into character. So our output string will automatically become in the sorted order only. So I hope now the entire approach is clear to you. Now let's just move to the coding question. And guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel till now, please subscribe it, and please comment down that yes, you want more such videos, because this will give me motivation for making more such videos for you. So guys, now let's just move to the coding part. Okay, so guys, for saving time, I have already implemented the function. So in exam also, you will just have to implement this function. What is the input in this function? It is string str. Okay, let me just remove it. Okay, so first of all, what we'll do, we will declare a frequency array of size 26, which will be initially in which all the values will be 0. That is, frequency of all the elements will be 0. Now then we will iterate over our input string to fill the frequency array. So here, this is the logic that I have told you, that how we will have to fill the frequency array. Now after this for loop is over, then our frequency array will be updated with the frequencies that are of the characters which are present in our input string. Now we will take a string answer variable that we have to return. Okay, so after this, okay, the answer variable that we will have to return. Now again we will iterate over our frequency array. Now from 0 to index 26. Now we'll check whether the current element's frequency is 0 or not, because if it is not equal to 0, it means that that character will be present in our input string. So for that index we will generate the character using this formula. Then we will append our answer in the append our character inside this answer variable, and in the end what we'll do, we will append our frequency of that character in the answer variable. Now I've used this toString method. So for using this toString method, you will have to import this library, that is bit/stdc++.h, and this will pass all the test cases that will be asked from you.
Okay, so guys, our approach will remain same. That first of all, we'll be discussing the question in this video. Then we will discuss the approach, how to approach this question. And finally, we will be discussing how to write the actual code in exam for this particular question. So guys, make sure that you are watching this video till the end, because this particular question is slightly on the hard side and not many of you were able to solve it. So make sure that you are watching this video till the end. So now let's start by first reading the question and understanding it. So question here is, infinite number of people are crossing a 2D plane. They march in such a way that each integral x coordinate will have exactly one person who moves along it in the positive y direction starting from x comma 0. You have to implement the function. The function takes an integer matrix barrier having n rows and 3 columns, where n denotes the number of barriers. The ith barrier is defined by xi, yi, di, which means that the barrier is blocking all the people who want to pass through points lying on the line segment connecting xi, yi and xi plus d, yi. Once a person encounters a barrier, he stops. So you will have to find out the number of people who will be blocked at some point while marching. I know and I'm 100% sure that you would not have got this question. So don't worry. If you will read line by line and then try to understand it line by line, you will be able to understand it. So again, let's just read first line first. Infinite number of people are crossing a 2D plane. They march in such a way that each integral x coordinate will have exactly one person who moves along it in a positive y direction starting from x comma 0. Let's understand with the help of this diagram. So this is a 2D plane, x-axis and y-axis. So each person, so on the x-axis, each number, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this denotes the person. So one person is standing at one position, one person is standing at two position, person is standing at three position, and so on. So here it is written that one person who moves along it in the positive y direction starting from x comma 0. So every person will start from these points. So first will start from 1, then from 2, then from 3. So each person will start from these points towards the y-axis. So this is, if a person is standing here at 1, so he will start moving towards the positive y-axis, that is upwards. Okay, and this will happen at each and every point of this x-axis. Till now it's clear, I hope. Okay, next, what we have to do, the function takes an integer matrix barrier having n rows and 3 columns, where n denotes the number of barriers. So these are the barriers. These are two barriers. These lines represent two barriers. Okay, and our barriers will be given to us in the manner xi, yi, di. So here if you can see that 2, 3 is the starting coordinate of the first barrier, and 3 is the length of that barrier, that how long is that barrier. Next again 4, 6 is the starting point of this barrier, and 4 here is given as the length of this barrier. Okay, so these are two barriers that are given to us. Now as I have told you that every person will start from these points and it will move towards the positive y-axis. So let's suppose there is a person who is starting from 1. So when the person is starting from 1 and he starts to move in a positive y direction, then he will keep on moving and there is no barrier present there. Okay, so one person at first position will keep on moving without any barrier in it. But people at moving at 2, 3, 4, 5, let's just talk about 2, 3, 4, 5. So they will start from these positions and they will start moving in the positive y direction, and once they face this barrier they will stop because they have faced the barrier and they will stop. Next person standing at 6, 7, 8, 9, they will start moving, and once they face a barrier at the position 6 in the y-axis, then they will stop. So we have to find out the number of people who will be blocked at some point while marching. So we'll have to tell the number of people who will be blocked once they are moving. So here how many people are there who will be moving, who will be stopped. So person starting at 2 will be blocked by this barrier, 3, 4 and 5 will also be blocked by this barrier only. So total here are 4 person that will be blocked by this barrier. Next is 6, 7, 8. So when the person will start moving from 6, 7, 8, it will move towards the positive y-axis and it will be blocked by this barrier. So total 3 more, that is 2, 3, 4, 5 by this barrier and 6, 7, 8 from this barrier. So total of 7 people will be blocked by these barriers that are given to us. Okay, and again the answer for this particular diagram will be 7 only, and these barrier informations are given to us. So n stands, so assumption n is greater than 0, that is the how many number of barriers will be there, and length of barrier is d greater than 0, that is this length. 3 and 4 denotes the length. Okay, and overlapping of barrier is possible. So here you can see these barriers are overlapping at some point. At 4, 5 these barriers are overlapping. So what all will be given to us in the input? In the input we will be given the n, that are the number of barriers, in this case 2. Let's just see the example, it will be more clear. So here this is what the input will be given to us, that is n equivalent to 2, that is the number of barriers. 2 barriers will be given, and then the information about the barriers will be given. that is x comma y 2 3 and d is 3. So for barrier 1 x y is 2 3 and d is 3. So x comma y here represents the starting coordinate of this barrier, and 3 here represents the length of this barrier, that it will continue till the length 3, that is till here 5. Next barrier 2 information will be given, that is it will start from coordinate 4 comma 6 and it will continue till 4. Okay, so these two informations will be given to us, that is number of barrier and the information of the barrier starting at the d part of the barrier. Okay, and again here are the explanation that is given, that first barrier will block people from 2 3 4 5, the second barrier will block people from 4 5 6 7 8, but here 4 comma 5 are common and only one person is standing at a one particular point, so he will be blocked either by first barrier or by second barrier. So total number of people that will be blocked by these two barriers will be 7, and 7 is our output only. So I hope now the question is clear to you. It is very simple. The person will start moving from x point in the positive y direction, and if he face the barrier he will stop, and we have to just tell that how many people will be stopped by the barriers that are given to us in the question. So I hope now the question is clear to you. Now we will move towards the approach. So let's move towards the approach of this question. So guys, now let's just discuss the approach. For discussing the approach, I have made this diagram and I have tried to cover each and every possibility of the barriers that you can have in this particular diagram. So guys, do subscribe this channel because I am making a lot of effort to make you guys understand how this question is working. Okay, so here what is given? It is given that n is equivalent to 5. So n is equivalent to 5 means there will be 5 barriers given to us. So there is barrier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the information of barrier will be given in this way, that is x y d. So x comma y represents the starting coordinate of the barrier and 3 represents the length of that barrier. So if we will see an example, so here barrier 1 is starting from 1 comma 2, so this is 1 comma 2 and d is 3, that is the length is 3. Similarly, if you look barrier 5, it is starting from 11 comma 3, that is this 11 comma 3 and length is 2. Okay, so I hope now you have got it, that x comma y is the starting coordinate of that barrier and 2 is the length of that barrier. So 5 barriers are given to us. So how we will approach this particular question? So first of all, our aim should be to what we have to do, to overlap these lines. So here you can see that we have to find the unique lines. So our first aim should be that we have to find unique lines that are not overlapping to each other. So if we will consider first barrier, so first barrier is not overlapping to anyone. Okay, so we will move ahead. Now we will see the second barrier. Second barrier is overlapping to first barrier. So what we will do, okay, so what we will do, we will merge these two barriers. Okay, so let me just draw it. Okay, so I'm just currently talking about the approach. I'm not writing any code. So here what we'll do, first barrier is doing nothing. Our second barrier is overlapping to our first barrier. So what we will do, we will simply merge these two barriers like this. We will simply merge these two barriers like this, and we will make these two barriers as one. Starting point will be 1 and ending point here will be this 6. Oh, sorry, 5. Okay, starting point as 1, ending point as 5. So we have merged these two barriers. Now if we will check, no other barrier is what you can say overlapping this particular barrier. Now we will move ahead and we have found that this particular barrier. So is this barrier overlapping to any other barrier? So the answer is no. So what we will do, we will again leave this as it is and we will consider this as a single barrier only. Okay, so consider as a single barrier only. Next, if we'll move ahead, we will see 9 comma 3. So this fourth barrier. So is this fourth barrier overlapping with any other barrier? So the answer is no. This fourth barrier is not overlapping to any other barrier. But when we are moving ahead and we are seeing that this fifth barrier, so is this fifth barrier overlapping to any other barrier? So answer is yes. So it is overlapping to fourth barrier. So we'll consider this entire two barriers as a single barrier like this. Okay, and its starting point will be from 9 and ending point will be to 13. We will reach I will tell you later that how we are finding the starting point and the ending point. So now what we have done, we have these three barriers. Okay, so we have merged the overlapping barriers, and now we have the three different barriers, and now these three different barriers are not overlapping to each other. Now what we'll do, now we will check that how many people are blocked by this barrier, how many people are blocked by this barrier, and how many people are blocked by this barrier, and we will simply add those numbers and we will return the answer. So it is that simple. So first step is to merge all the overlapping barriers into a single barrier. By doing this particular step, we will find all the non-merging barriers. So here we have found out that in the end, three barriers are such that they are non-merging. Okay, and then we will just find out how many people have been blocked by first barrier, then how many people have been blocked by second barrier, then how many people have been blocked by third barrier, and this will be our answer, and we will simply return it. Okay, so this was the high level of the approach, that how we will be moving ahead. But now how to do it, how to merge these two barriers, how we will know how to do all the calculations, how we will merge these two barriers. So let's just start step by step. So let's just forget currently that we have some overlapping barriers. Okay, delete it, delete it, delete it. Okay, our first step should be, let me write somewhere here if it's visible, or let me just quickly increase the font size, 16. So yes, so let's just focus on our first barrier. For every barrier, we will have to find the starting X point and the ending X point. So for there are five barriers, so we will have to find five a starting point and ending point for five barriers. So for the first barrier, what is the starting point, starting X point? So again, starting X point is given to us in the in the barrier information only, that is 1. Okay, that is 1. Now we have to find the ending point of this particular barrier. So what is the ending point of this particular barrier? It is starting from 1 and it is stretched in the x direction with the length 3. So it will be 1 plus 3. 1 plus 3. So if I summarize this, to find the starting x point and the ending x point of the barrier, what we have to do? We have to simply do xi. This will be starting point, and we have to do xi plus d. So this is the starting point and the ending point of the barrier. So similar, so what we will do, using this particular formula only, we will find the starting x point and ending x point of all the barriers. So overall, we will have the starting and ending x points of 5 barriers. So let's just quickly find out those first. Okay, so for first barrier, starting point is 1, ending point is 1 plus 3, that is xi plus d, that is 1 plus 3, that is 4. For next barrier, there is starting point is as 3 and ending point is 3 plus 2, that is xi plus d, that is 5. Then again for the third barrier, the starting point is 6 and the ending point is 6 plus 2, that is 8. Again, if the starting point for the fourth barrier, starting point is 9 and the ending point is 2. Oh, sorry, 9 plus 2, that is 11. Okay, next for the fifth barrier, the starting point is 11 and the ending point is 11 plus 2, that is 13. Now we have gathered the starting x point and the ending x point of each of these barriers. But now you will ask why we have done this. So again, the answer is very simple. So we have found the starting x point and ending x point of each of the barriers so that we can merge the overlapping barriers. So it will help us in merging the overlapping barriers. So if you will look closely, you will see the starting point of second barrier, that is 3, is less than the ending point of the first barrier, that is 4. So therefore we know that these two can be merged. So therefore we have found the starting and ending point of the barrier. Okay, so our first step is over. So this is our simple first step. After finding this, what we will do, we will simply store this in an array. So again, we will form an array of size 5 and each of the array element will contain two values. It will be a 2D array and each array index will contain two values, that is starting x point and ending x point of that particular barrier. And why we have found the starting and ending x points of barrier? So that we can find the overlapping barriers. Okay, so this is our first step, that is over. Now we have stored this information in the array. Now what will be our second step? Second step will be to merge the overlapping barriers. Second step will be to merge the overlapping barriers. Okay, so how we will do that? Just a second. Sorry for this one. Okay, so here you can see that now now we will be merging using this particular thing. We will merge the overlapping barriers. Okay, so what we'll do here, we will see that what is the starting point of the first barrier, that is 1. Now we will see, is the ending point of the second barrier less than the starting point of the second barrier is less than the ending point of the first barrier or not. So if it is, in this case it is, so it means that these two barriers are overlapping, so we will merge it. So how we will merge it? We will simply take the first position and then we'll take the fifth position. So this will be length of the overlapping barrier, that is 1 comma 5. So this is the starting and ending point, starting x point and the ending x point of the first overlapped barrier. Then again we will compare the third barrier, whether this third barrier is overlapping with this 1 comma 5 or not. Again, is the starting value of this barrier less than the ending value of this barrier? The answer is no. So it means that this particular barrier is a different barrier. So again we will take it and we will do starting point 6 comma 8. Okay, now again we will compare this particular barrier whether it is an overlapping or not. So we will again check whether the starting x point of this barrier is less than the uh, ending point of the previous barrier or not. So in this case it is not. So again we will consider this as a single barrier. It will give us 9 comma 11. Again we will check whether the starting point of this barrier is less than or equal to the ending point of the previous barrier. In this case the answer is yes. So it means that these two barriers are the overlapping barriers and we have to merge these overlapping barriers. So what will be the starting and ending point of these overlapping barriers? Starting point will be the starting point of the first barrier, that is 9, and ending point will be the ending point of the merged barrier will equivalent to the this one 13, 9 comma 13, 9 comma 13. Now what we have done, we have merged these overlapping barriers and we have found out that there are total 3 barriers that are present over the x-axis, and now no such overlapping is present. Now our last step will be to find the number of people blocked, So what we'll do, we will first check how many people have been blocked by first barrier, then how many people have been blocked by second barrier, then how many people have been blocked by third barrier. So the answer is simple. To check for the number of people blocked by first barrier is simple it is. So we will take this y point. Okay, so we will take this y point minus x plus 1. So we will follow this approach. Okay, because one total point, number of people that have been blocked by this barrier is 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 minus 1 plus 1. So here it will give us 4. So the 4 people have been blocked by first barrier. Then 8 minus 6 plus 1, that will give us 3. 3 people have been blocked by second barrier. Then 13 minus 9 plus 1 will give us 5. That is 5 people have been blocked by sorry 1 comma 5 people, sorry, here it should be 5. Okay, 5 3 and 5 people have been blocked by third barrier. So total will be 13 people that have been blocked by all these barriers. So here we have given the output as 13. So this was the entire approach we have to follow step by step. And now if you have still not understood, make sure that you watch this approach again. You will surely understand. And still if there are some doubts, let's move towards the coding part, and there I will explain it clearly that how we have to merge the overlapping barriers through code. Okay, so let's just quickly move towards the coding part. Okay, so guys, for saving time, I have already written the code. I will explain this code line by line to you, and the thing will become crystal clear to you. Just remember the steps I have told you: step 1, step 2, and step 3 I have told you in the approach section. So in Accenture, you will just have to implement the function. You do not have to worry about any inputs or anything. So we have got 2 inputs in this function, that is n, the number of barriers, then the array which will contain n information of n barriers, and it will have 3 columns only, that is x, y, and d it will contain. Now, as I have told you, as a step one, what we have to do, as a step one, we will have to find the starting and ending x points of each and every barrier. So if there are n barriers, we will have to find the starting and ending x points of n barriers. So for storing those values, we have to define an array that is int points. It will have n rows and it will have two columns which will store the starting and ending x value. Okay, then we will initialize this array with 0 initially. Now then our step 1 starts. So as I've told you, in step 1 we will have to find the starting and ending x point of each of the barrier. And how we will find that? The starting point will be the xi, that is this one, and ending point will be xi plus d. Okay, so starting point will be the xi only, that is ARR of I0 only, and the ending point of the barrier will be, that is the ending point will be stored at the second column, that is I comma 1. Okay, it will be the xi, that is error of I comma 0, plus the d, and d we all know it will be present on the third column of the input array. So on the first column of the input array, x value will be present. On the second column of the input array, y value will be present, and on the third column of the input array, d value will be present. So we have found the starting and ending point of each of this barrier, and we have stored it in the array of points. Okay, we have stored it in the array of points. Now remember the step 2. Now we have the starting and ending point of each of these barriers. Now we will check for overlap, and once we have found the overlap, we will merge those two or those three barriers. Okay, so for starting, we have took first barrier as our initialization. So we have taken 2 points, start x and end x. Okay, and we have initialized the value of these two variables with the starting point and ending point of the first barrier. Starting point and the ending point of the first barrier. Okay, now we will be iterating over the points array from the first index, because from the 0th index we have taken the initializing value, and from second barrier we will be starting iterating. So we will iterate second barrier, then third, then fourth, then fifth, and the value of starting and ending in x points of first barrier, we have taken it as an initializer in this particular what we will say in these particular variables, and we are iterating over the rest of the barriers. Now while iterating, we will check for the overlapping. So how we will check? As I have told you, if the starting point of the current barrier is less than or equivalent to the ending point of the previous barrier, it means that overlapping is there. Again I will tell you, if the starting point of the current barrier is less than or equivalent to the ending point of the previous barrier, then the overlapping is there. So if the overlapping is there, we will update our index with the end value of the current barrier. So what we have done, initially we had, if I will tell you with the example, initially we have start x as 1 and index as 4, because it is the initialized value of our first barrier. Now we are iterating over this barrier, and if our start value of this barrier is less than the index value of the previous barrier, then what we will do, we will it means the overlapping of these two is there, and now we will update the index value that will be 5. So now our index has become 5. Okay, now if condition is successful, now we will move to the next iteration, that is now we will compare the next barrier. So again the next barrier is 6 comma 8. Now we will check whether the starting value of current barrier, that is 6, is less than or equivalent to the index value. So the answer is no here. So 1 comma 5 is there and the answer is no. So it means that the overlapping that was happening before this current barrier, we have already found. So this is the overlapping that was happening from 1 to 5, it was overlapping happening. So in this case, this first condition is not fulfilled. We will move towards the else condition. Now in this else condition, we will do step 3 simultaneously. What is our step 3? Step 3 is to calculate the number of people who will be blocked by this particular barrier. That is this particular overlapped barrier, how many people will be blocked from here. And how we will find it? We will do index minus start x plus 1. So we have done index minus start x plus 1. So because this currently the start x and index value will contain the overlapped barrier. Okay, we will contain the starting and ending point of the overlapped barrier. So these are the amount of people blocked. And then now see, our start text and end text value contain 1 comma 5, and now our next barrier was 6 comma 8. So there is no overlapping of 6 comma 8 with 1 comma 5. So it means our work for this particular barrier is over. So now again we will initialize this start text and end text value with the next barrier, that is 6 comma 8. Okay, 6 comma 8 we have initialized. So it means for the barrier that was overlapping at 1 comma 5, our work is over, because we have found out total people blocked, and now we have updated the value of start text and index with the first and second value of the current barrier. Okay, and one, it will be continuing for all the barriers, and once this iteration is over, we will again do this particular thing, because let's suppose there was only one point. Let's suppose there was only one point, then this loop will not run, and we will simply find out total people blocked by that single barrier by this particular thing, and in the end we will return total people blocked. And if I will run this code, I have given these as input, this array as input, and our answer should be 13, as we have discussed in the approach section. So I hope now the code is also clear to you. It is very simple. I have also mentioned the steps also. So what is step 1 doing, what is step 2 doing, and what is step 3 doing, and I have discussed step 1, step 2, step 3 in detail in the approach section. So if you have not looked at the approach section, do check out that also, okay, in this particular video only. So I hope, let's just see what is the result here. So here you can see the result is coming as 13. That is our expected output. So it means that this particular code is running fine, and it will pass all the test cases that will be given to you. So all the whether it is the base case or whether it is the you can say the edge cases, it will cover all. So guys, this video took lot of effort from my side. I made diagram also, and I made this code also, and I made a good approach that you will be able to understand. So please hit that like button and subscribe button for this channel. Let's just start with the reading of the question. So question here is number of cards in the pyramid. Find the number of total cards used for building pyramids are shown in the following figure. Okay, so these are pyramids that have been formed using cards. So here you can see that for the on the first image. So this is a level 3 pyramid. That is, there are 3 levels: 1 level, 2 level, and 3 level. So this is a 3 level pyramid that have been made with the help of cards. Next image, that is the second image, you can see there are only 2 levels. This is first level and this is third level. Okay, so see, this is a 2 level pyramid that have been made with the help of the cards. Now in our question, what we have to return, what we have to find, so we have to find the total number of cards that are used for building the pyramid of the given level. So how many level of pyramid that will be given to you? So it will be as an input. So for example, input is 3. So 3 means that 3 level pyramid has been formed. So now you will have to find the number of cards that have been used for making that pyramid. Okay, so let's just move ahead with reading the question. Okay, now you are required to implement the following function. As I have told you, in Accenture hiring, only function you have to implement. No input you have to take, nothing you have to take. It will be all be managed by their side. Just the function you will have to implement. Okay, the function accepts an integer n as its argument. The integer n denotes the level of the pyramid. You are required to calculate the number of cards required to build the pyramid. So as I have told you, so this is level 2 pyramid, this is level 3 pyramid. So we will be given the level number in the input. This n denotes the level. So if it will be 3, then it means that level 3 pyramid is formed. So now we have to find the number of cards that have been used in forming this particular pyramid. Okay, so moving ahead, let's just now quickly jump on to the examples, that how what are the examples and how we can find that how many cards are there. Okay, so as I've told you, this question is slightly on the easier side only, so it will not take much of the effort in understanding this particular question. So now we are here. Okay, so here I have taken 3 examples. Let me just do font size as 18. Okay, so I have taken 3 examples here. So first is level 1 pyramid, second one is level 2 pyramid, and third one is level 3 pyramid. So let's just understand how to find the number of cards in each of the levels pyramids. So here in level 1, we know that only 2 cards are there. So we will simply write 2 here. Okay, I am just currently writing number of cards we are used, and then we will break down that how we have to solve for the nth level. Now coming to level 2. So when we are coming to level 2, see, when level 1 was there. So only one triangle was there in that level. Okay, now coming to level 2. So in level 2 also level 1 will be there, and then additional is level 2. So I am repeating again. So in level 1 only single level is there. You can see here single level is there. Okay, and when we are coming to level 2, there are two levels. So first level from level 1 is there, and next these second level has been added new. So how many cards have been added in the level 2 only? Not in level 1, just level 2. How many cards have been added? So the cards have been added are these two triangles are there, that is 4 cards. Okay, 4 cards are there. Then this one card that is placed horizontally here, that is joining these two triangles. So this card is there. So 4 plus 1. So these 5 cards have been added in level 2 extra. Plus we have to find the total number of cards in level 2 plus the number of cards we have taken from level 1, because level 1 cards also we have to add in here. So card 1, number of cards from level 1. So 4 plus 1 plus level 1 will give us 5 plus 2, that is 7. So I hope this thing is clear to you. If it is still not clear, let me just increase this font. If it is still not clear, let me just explain with the help of level 3. Okay, now moving ahead to level 3. Again the font is some problem. Okay, so now level 3. So as I have told you, when we are on current level 3, so we have to find total number of cards for a level 3 pyramid. We know that this is level 1, this is level 2, and this is level 3. So currently, first of all, our aim is to find that how many cards have been used in forming level 3 only. Okay, how many cards have been used for level 3 only? So level 3 is, you can see in level 3 there are three triangles. Okay, in level 3 there are three triangles. So 3 into 2, because each triangle consists of two cards, so 3 into 2, that are 6. Okay, 6. Then plus there are two horizontal cards which are acting as hut. So these two are the cards. So two cards are there that are acting as hut. So plus 2, so this gives us 8. So only level 3 has added 8 cards extra. But we have to find overall cards. So level 3 has additionally added 8 cards, plus level 1 and level 2 are also present. So what will be the total count of level 2? Level 2 plus level 1, it will be 7, as we have found it above. So 8 plus total cards of level 2, that will give us 8 plus 7 equivalent to 15. So I hope now this thing is clear to you, that how we are calculating the card. For every level, first individually we will find the number of cards that are required to make pyramid on that level only. That is, in this case 3 was there. So we have founded, first of all our step was to find how many cards have been used to create that level only. So 3 into 2, because 2 cards will form this triangle, plus these 2 cards which are acting as horizontal. And then once we have found the particular level, now we have to find the total cards. So these cards at level 3 plus the total cards of level 2. Total cards of level 2 were 7, as we have found earlier, so there were total is 15. So if I generalize this thing, because see, we are writing programs, so we have to somewhere generalize the equation. So if I generalize the equation is simple. What is the equation? Let me tell you. The equation is very simple, that is 2 into I, 2 into current level, 2 into current level plus n minus 1 plus total cards at level, current level minus 1. So this is the current equation. So 2 into current level, if we will see for the level 3, so 2 into current level, that is 2 into 3, that is 6, that will give us 6. Now plus n minus 1. Why we have done n minus 1? To find these horizontal cards. So n minus 1 here will give us 2. Okay, so n minus 1 will give here 2, plus the total cards at level, current level minus 1. So that means current level minus 1 is level 2, total cards at level 2, that is 7. it will give us 15. So this is the generalized equation that we will have to use, to find the total cards at the current level. Now, for see here in this equation, the total cards at level current level minus 1 are also used. So therefore, we will have to maintain that at every level, what are the total number of cards that are being used for store that have been used to form the pyramid of that level. So we will store this in an array. We will store the number of cards that are required for level 1 also, then level 2 also, and then level 3 also. So I hope now the approach is clear to you. If you still have doubts, let's quickly move towards the coding part. The things will become more clear once you see the code. So let's just now move towards the coding part. Okay, so guys, the code is very simple. Let's just read it line by line. And again, I've told you, you just have to implement the function and not the entire input and output. You will not have to take care by yourself. So here we have taken int n as input. N means the level. That is for which level we have to find the total number of cards. Okay, so again, there are some base cases. If our n value is 0, that is there are 0 levels in the pyramid, then how many cards we will be requiring? It is 0 only. That is simply we will return 0. Now if n is equal to 1, that is if level is equal to 1, then how many cards we will have to how many total cards will be there? There will be just 2 cards, one here and one here. So we have simply returned 2 from here. Next is, now we have to find the total number of cards that are required to create an n level pyramid. Okay, so for that I have told you how we will proceed using this approach. Okay, for now, as I've told you, for every level we will have to store the value of total cards that is required to form that level pyramid. So for that only we have described this array. Okay, so we have taken it n plus 1. I will tell you the reason why we have taken this n plus 1 later. So see, now the first value, that is error of 0, will represent the total number of cards for 0th level, that is 0 only. Now the error of 1 will represent the total number of cards for the 1 level pyramid, that is 2 only. Now what we'll do, we will iterate over the rest of the levels till n, because we have to find, in the end we have to find the total number of cards in the nth level pyramid. Okay, and now for every iteration what we'll do, we will find the total number of cards that are required, for forming the pyramid for the current level, that is for the ith level. So as I've told you, this is the it is the simple equation that we'll be using. 2 into current level, that is 2 into I, plus I minus 1, that I have told you, n minus 1, that are the horizontal cards. Okay, plus the total cards at the level current minus 1, that is the total cards at the level 1 before. So therefore error of 1 minus I minus 1. So once we have done the total of it, we have to do mod of this value, because this particular thing is given in the question also, that you have to return the answer mod 1 5 times 0 7. Okay, so using this we have found the total number of cards that are required for the ith level. Similarly, once the loop is over, the ARR of n will contain the value that total how many total number of cards are required for forming pyramid at the nth level. Now see, we are returning ARR of n here. So for finding, see, 0th level is there and we have to find the nth level also. But if we will define the array of size n only, then the last index will be n minus 1. The last index will be n minus 1. So in that case, we will only be able to store the values till the n minus 1th level. But currently we want the total number of cards at the nth level. Therefore, we have defined an array as n plus 1. So I hope now this thing is clear to you why we have taken n plus 1 as the array. So there are multiple approaches for solving this question. There are simpler approaches also. There is complex approaches also. So this approach I found suitable, that will be understood by all. So therefore, I have used this approach in this video. So let's just now quickly run some test cases. Let's just see. Let's just input as 3, that is 3 level, and let's just see that how many cards are required at the level 3. So ideally the answer should come out to be 15. So here you can see the output is coming as 15. If we will give 2 here, so answer should come as 7. Let's just see if it is working or not. But according to me, it should work, and this code will pass all the test cases that will be given to you. And guys, if you have not subscribed it until now, please subscribe it and do hit the like button for this video, as these videos take a lot of effort for in construction. Okay, so here you can see that output is coming as 7. Okay, so guys, again the approach of our video will remain same. First of all, we will be discussing the question. then the approach of this question, and then finally we will move in towards the coding part of this question. So guys, this question, that is print the following pattern, is slightly on the easy side, so it will be easy to understand, and many of you were able to solve this question on your own, but this video is for those who found it difficult. So let's just see what is the question and how we can approach it. Okay, so let's just first read the question first. So print the following pattern. Given number of rows as input, print the below pattern, that is n is equal to 7. So you will be given the number of rows, and based on this single input only, you will have to print this entire pattern. So what this n is equal to 7 denotes, n equal to 7 denotes the number of rows. So this is first row, this is second row, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth, this is seventh. So similarly, so n is equal to 7 means 7 rows, and in each row again there is a different pattern, different number of stars that are getting printed. So let the now, I hope the question is clear to you. Let's just now see how we will be approaching this question. So guys, n is equal to 7, it means the number of rows, and once we are on the ith row, let's just suppose we are on this third row. Now again, once we are on this third row, if you will look closely, we are starting from left to right. So first of all, there are two spaces that are getting printed, and then there are 5 stars that are getting printed. So initially what you have to do, you will have to consider this as an entire square of 7 by 7. Okay, now if you are on the ith row, then starting from the left, first spaces are getting printed, and then the stars are getting printed. For each row, the pattern is same. First some spaces are getting printed, then some stars are getting printed, and this approach, this thing is repeating for all the rows, but just the difference is that there are different number of spaces and different number of stars in every row. For example, in the first row, if we consider, there are 0 spaces and 7 stars. Similarly, in the second row, there is 1 space and 6 stars. Similarly, in the third row, there are 2 spaces and 5 stars. So if we will note the number of spaces and the number of stars in each row, so in the first row, spaces is equivalent to 0 and stars is equivalent to 6. Oh, star is equal to 7. Okay, again considering the second row, for the second row, space is equivalent to 1, stars is equivalent to 6. For the third row, again space is equivalent to 2, stars equivalent to 5, and so on till the last row, where space is equivalent to 6 and star equivalent to 1. So if you will look closely, you will find the pattern, that what is the pattern for each row that is getting fulfilled. So if I generalize this pattern, okay, what we will do, here you can see that in the first row, the stars is double equivalent to n value only, and in the second row, the stars is double equivalent to n minus 1 value, and in the third row, the stars sorry the stars is equivalent to n minus 2, and similarly till the last row. So, and similarly in the last row, the stars is equivalent to n minus what you can say, stars is equivalent to 1 only. So it is a sequence that in every row our stars are getting decreased by 1. So n minus 1, n minus 2 till the stars equivalent to 1. And if we will similarly compare the spaces also, so spaces in the first row is 0, and then on the second row is 1, then on the third row it is 2, and so on till the spaces are 6, that is n minus 1. So if we'll again, that is equivalent to n minus 1. So what we will do, we will simply first write a for loop. Okay, first write a for loop that will help us in iterating each and every row, and then inside that for loop, first of all we will print all the spaces, then we will print all the stars, and after every iteration we will increment the value of spaces by 1, and we will decrement the value of stars with 1. So I hope now the question and some bit of approach is clear to you. Now quickly move towards the coding part, because many things will become more clear once you see the code for it. So if you are not subscribed to the channel till now, please subscribe it and do hit that like button, and do share this video among your friends also. And now let's just quickly move on to the coding part of this question. Okay, so guys, here I have already written the code for saving the time. So this is the main function. Again, in Accenture hiring, I have told you that you will only have to implement the function there will be some question in which you have to take input by yourself. So I think this is one of the question wherein you will have to take the input by yourself. But again, I may be wrong, but if you like, if you have to just implement the function, just forget this input part and just focus on the main logic part. Okay, so just to explain this question, first I have taken the input n and then c in n, and then what we have to do, we have to declare spaces. We have to initialize the spaces with 0, because as I told you, in the first row spaces are 0. Okay, and then we have to take the next thing, that is stars as a variable, and we have to initialize that star as n, because we know that in the first row there will be the number of stars will be equivalent to n. So we have already taken n as input. Okay. Now what we'll do, we will use a for loop. For int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So what this loop will do, this loop will help us in iterating in the rows. Okay. So for every iteration, the operation we will do, that will be this printing this particular row. So again, this is the outer loop that we are using. This outer loop will help us in iterating over each and every row. So once we are on the ith row, so once, let's just suppose we are on the ith row, let's just suppose we are on the third row, but I have told you we will first print all these spaces, and then on the in that row we will print all these stars. Okay, so again, once we're on the ith row, we are first printing all these spaces. J is equal to 0, j less than spaces, j plus plus. C out, again this is the space that we are printing, and then once all these spaces have been printed for that ith row, we are printing all the stars for that ith row. For j is equal to 0, then j less than stars, j plus plus, and we are printing all the stars for that particular row. Okay, so once we have printed all these spaces and once we have printed all the stars, then I had told you that when we'll move in towards the next iteration, our spaces variable will increase by 1, because in this third row 2 spaces were there, and in the fourth row 3 spaces were there, and in the fifth row 6 how many 4 spaces were there. So in every row spaces are increasing, so therefore for every iteration we have increased the spaces. And next thing is, for every iteration our stars is decreasing, as I have told you that in the second row 6 stars are there, in the third row 5 stars are there, and so on. In the fourth row 4 stars are there, so therefore we have decremented our stars by 1. Okay, so till here all the things are clear. Now when moving to the next iteration, we will have to give this cout and then and l also. So cout and l works in C++, but again if you are using any other language, you can use that function. So cout and l means that once the ith iteration is over, the printing of next iteration will start from the next row. So if I will like show you by running this code just once, okay, then I will show you if what will happen if I will not give this cout and l. So let's just first, for the custom input as 5, let's just run it. Let's just see what will be output coming, and then I will again run this code by removing the and l part. So here you can see this is the output and this is the expected output that is coming, so it is correct. Now let me just remove this cout and l, then the things will become more clear that why this and l was used for this iteration. Let me just run it now. Okay, so now you will see, since cout and l has been removed, so all the stars and spaces have been printed in the single row only. So cout and l for every iteration is very important, so that our pattern can be completed, and for the next row all these spaces and pattern all the spaces and stars start printing from the new row for every iteration. So again let me just run it and it will give you this same output, that is this one. So this particular code will pass all the test cases that will be given to you. But again, keep in mind, there might be some programs in which you will have to take input, and there might be some program in which you will just have to implement the function. So some minor changes you will have to make in your code, but the main logic will remain same. So I hope all these things are clear to you. Okay, so guys, the question that I am discussing in this video is segregate even and odd numbers. Given an array A, write a function that segregates even and odd numbers. The function should put all even numbers first and then odd numbers. So let's just see with the help of example what this question is trying to say. So we are given an integer array which contains even and odd numbers. So what we have to do, how we have to modify the array, we have the output array should look like this. That is, first all the even numbers that were present in the array should come, and then at the end all the odd numbers that are present in the array should come. So you can see here that how this array is modified. So first all the even numbers will be placed inside the output array, and in the later half all the odd numbers will be placed in the output array. And again, one more thing that is given to us is the order of the elements does not matter. So for example, here you can see it is 12, 34, 8 and 90. So all the even numbers are following the same order, but it is not necessary that they will follow the same order. So let's just see in the below example. Again, an input array is given that which contains both odd and even numbers, and then the output array is given in which first half contains all the even numbers, and then after that all the odd numbers are present. Now what do you mean by order? You can see here in the original array, first 9 is coming, then 45 is coming, and then 45 is coming. So again in the output array, the order does not matter, is means like this, that is 45 can also come first, then 9, then 45. So relative order is not necessary to be kept same, but it can be different also. So now I hope you have understood the question, that first in the input array, first we have to write all the even numbers, and then after that we have to write all the odd numbers. So I hope this question as well as the examples are clear to you. Now let's just see the approach that we will be using. Okay, so guys, this is our input array, that is 12, 34, 45, 9, 8, 90 and 3. So we have to modify this input array in such a way that all the even numbers are coming in the front of the array, and after the odd numbers, after the even numbers, all the odd numbers are present. So what we will do, first of all, we'll take two pointers. One is the left pointer that will be starting with the 0th index, and next pointer is the R pointer that will be placed at the last position of the array. So what we'll do, we will start traversing the array from the left side. We'll start traversing the array from the left side, that is this L pointer will be used to traverse the array. What we'll do, if our current, we will check the current element, that what is the current element on the L. So if our current element is 12 on the L, so you can see that ARR of L is equal to 12, that is our current element is 12. So if it is an even number, if the current element is even number, we will do nothing, we will simply move this pointer towards the next element. So initially we have started our L from here. Now we have checked that what is our value at L. If the value at L is an even number, then we will do nothing, but we will simply move our L pointer next to the next data. Now again we will check what is the value at L. So you can see that the value at L is still an even number. So if the value at L is an even number, we will again do nothing and we will move our L towards the next data point. Okay, now we will check what is the value at L. Now you can see that the value at L is 45, that is an odd number. So if our value at L is odd number, what we will do, we will swap the value, of L with the value of R. So R initially was at the end position. So once we know that the value at L is an odd number, then what we'll do, we will swap the value of L with the value of R. So let's just swap it. So here 3 will come, we have just swapped the numbers, and here 45 will come. Okay, so we have done the swapping. So once the swapping is done, we will do R minus minus, that is R pointer will be pointed, will come one step ahead. So what we have done initially, if our current value at L, was odd, then we will swap the value of L with the R, and once the swapping is done, we will do R minus minus. So our R was currently pointing to there. So once we have swapped the two values, we will do R minus minus. Okay, now again we will check the value at L. So again you can see that value at L is odd. So once the value at L is odd, we will swap the value of L with value of R. So let's just swap it. So here 90 will come, here 3 will come. So once the value at L was odd number, we have swapped the value of L with value of R, and after that we will be doing R minus minus. Now we will check that what is the value at L. So you can see that value at L is an even number. So I have told you that when the value at L is an even number, we will do nothing, but we'll simply move our L towards the next position. So this is it. So now again our L has moved to the next position. Again we will check that what is the value at L. So again the value at L is now 9, that is an odd number. So once the value at L is an odd number, we will swap the value of L with this value of R, that is here 8 will come, here 9 will come, here 9 will come. So once our value at L was odd, we have swapped the value of L with value of R. Now here 8 has come and here 9 has come, and after swapping we will do R minus minus. So R minus minus we are doing, so R is coming here. So this entire procedure will run till our L is less than R, but now our L has become equivalent to R. So now this entire iteration will stop here only, that is this entire iteration will run till while our L is less than R. But here at this iteration you can see our L has become equivalent to R. So here we will stop, and once we have stopped, you can see that In the starting of the array, all the even numbers are placed, and after the even numbers, all the odd numbers are placed. So this is what we have to do in the answer. That is, we have to just move all the even numbers in the starting of the array, and after the even numbers are over, we will just have to place all the odd numbers till the end of the array. So I hope now the approach is clear to you. It was very simple. If the current value at L was an even number, we were doing nothing. We were simply moving L to the next position if our current value at L was even. But if our current value at L was odd, then what we were doing, I am just revising you the concepts. Sorry, okay. So R was here. So let's just suppose our current value at L was an odd number. So what we were doing, we were swapping the both of values of swapping both of values, like value of L and R we were swapping. So here 45 was coming, here 9 was coming, and then after swapping we were simply doing R minus minus. So I hope this thing is clear to you. Now the approach of the question is clear to you. Now we will move into the coding part of this question. Now guys, for saving the time, I've already written the coding, already written the code. So here you can see that we have taken two variables, int L, that was starting from initially starting from the starting of the array, and next variable was the R pointer that was starting from the rightmost, that is the end element of the array. So 0 and -1. Now what we are doing, we are running a loop while our L is less than R. If our current element at L, that I have told you, if our current element at L was an odd number, then what we were doing, we were simply swapping our L value with the R value, and then we were simply doing R minus minus. This was the case when our L element was an odd number. Else it means that else means if our value at L was an even number. So if our value at L was an even number, we were simply doing L plus plus. So this was continuing till our L was less than R. So once our L is less than R, we have returned from this function. Now what we'll do, we'll simply print the array. So now let's just simply run the code. So here our input, that is 5 elements, 1 2 3 4 5. So once you will run it, you will see that all the even numbers will come in the beginning of the array, and all the odd numbers will move towards the end of the array. So here you can see that this is our output, that is 4 2 3 5 1. Here the order of the elements does not matter in even or odd.
So the question that I will be discussing in this video is find the sum of smallest and largest element in an array. So guys, yes, for many of you, this will be the easiest question that can be asked in any company. But I know many of the students who struggle in these type of questions also. So here I am with the video. So what this question is saying, find the sum of the smallest and largest element in an array. So we are given an array as an input. What we have to do, we have to find the smallest element that is present in the array. We have to find the largest element that we have to that is present in the array, and we have to return the sum of those elements. That is, simply return the sum of the smallest plus the sum of the smallest and the largest element. So here the smallest element is 1, the largest element is 5. So what we'll return, we'll simply return 6. So this was the entire question. I know many of you will say that these type of questions are not asked, but it is the reality that yes, this question was asked in today's Accenture exam. So I hope now the question is clear to you. An array will be given to you. You will have to find the smallest number. You will have to find the largest number in that array, and you will have to return the sum of those numbers. So the question is now clear to you. Now let's just start. Let's just jump to directly into the writing the coding part of this question. So what we will be doing, first of all we will be finding the smallest number, and then we will finding the largest number. So let's just say int smallest, smallest is equivalent to int max. We will take a variable which is int smallest, we will take another variable which is int largest, and we will initialize it with int min. See, the in question it is not there that only the positive elements are present in the array. So it might be the case that negative elements are also present in the array. So you will have to uh, write the code accordingly so that all the test cases are passed. So smallest number. Now initially we are taking a variable that is named smallest, and it is containing int max value, that is the maximum possible value that can be present in an integer. And we are taking a largest element, largest integer, which contains the minimum possible value that can be present in any array. Now what we'll do, we will iterate over the array, and we will update the smallest value with the current smallest value. Let's just I know you will get confused, so let's just simply iterate over the array. So int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So first, on the first iteration, we'll find the smallest element. So what we'll do, we will check if the current element, is less than the smallest element. If the current element is less than the smallest element. So if the current element is less than the smallest element, that means that our current element becomes the smallest. So we will do smallest is equivalent to our current element, that is ARR of I. So we will update our smallest element. So I hope this thing is clear to you, that while iterating over the for loop, if our current element is less than the smallest element, that means that our current element becomes the smallest element. So here we are writing smallest element equal to ARR of I. Now what if our current element is not less than the smallest element, is greater than the smallest element? Then this if condition will not run and the smallest element will not get updated. So after this loop is over, what is in this smallest element we will contain the smallest value of our array. So I hope this thing is clear to you. Now we will do similar thing for finding the max largest element. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, we will iterate over the array, and for every value we will check whether the current value is greater than the largest element. If our current value is greater than the largest element, then that means that our current value becomes the largest. We will simply update our largest value to our current element, that is ARR of I. I'm again explaining you, in largest what we'll do, we will check whether our current element in the array is greater than the largest value. Then what we'll do, we will update our largest value with the current element of the array. So after this loop is over, we have our largest element. So by the first loop we have our smallest element, by the second loop we have our largest element, and what we'll do, we'll simply have to return the sum of the smallest plus largest element. So this is the entire question, and I have written the code. Now let's just check on a certain inputs whether this code is running or not. So first is 5. Again I forgot to tell you that in Accenture you will only have to complete the function that will be given to you. That is, you will not have to take input on your own. I am taking input so that the things can become clear to you. But in the exam you will just have to uh, complete the function. So 5 1 2 3 sorry 1 2 3 4 5. So the answer should come out to be 6. So if there is no error, then our answer will be correct. Otherwise we will check whether what is the error that is coming. So you can see that our output is coming out to be 6, so it is correct. Now let's just check on some other input also. You are saying that I am only entering the sorted array. Let's just randomly 6 5 7 4 3. Okay, sorry, 6 5 7 6 8. So now let's just check that what should be our answer. Our smallest value is 5 and our largest value is 8, so answer should be 13. So let's just check. So you can see that our answer is coming out to be 13. So guys, this code will pass all the test cases that will be given to you in your exam. So I hope now the question as well as the code for this question is clear to you. And if you have not subscribed this channel till now, please subscribe it. Okay, so guys, first of all, we will be reading the question, then we will discuss the approach of this question, and then finally I will be writing the code for the same. And guys, in this video, I will be discussing only one question, and more such questions will be posted in next videos. So make sure that you are subscribing this channel. And if you have any question that you want me to discuss, you can always contact me on Telegram. The link for contacting me on Telegram I will give in the pinned comment. So make sure to visit that also if you want me to discuss any such question. So let's begin this video. So here the question is maximum element and its index. So let's just read the question first. A function accepts an array and length field. Implement the function to find the maximum element of the array and print maximum element and its index. Okay, the maximum element and its index should be printed in the next line. So here the question is very simple. What it is given that you will be given an function, you will just have to implement that function. You will not have to take any input, you will not have to take any other things as parameters. Entire function will be given to you. It will contain two arguments. One is the array of numbers, next is the length field, that is the length of the array. We will just have to implement that function. And how we will have to implement the function? We will have to find the maximum element in the array, and we have to print that maximum element, as well as we will have to print that index, that on which index that element is present. So I hope now the question is clear to you. Okay, and one thing you have to note, that the maximum element we have to print and index we have to print, but they both should be in the separate lines. So first we'll print the maximum element and then we'll print the index, but they should be in the separate line. Okay, and let's just see now, there is one note also given. So array index start with 0, as we all know. maximum element and its index should be separated by a new line, as I have already told you. Next is assume that there is only one maximum element in the array. So again, there can be multiple maximum elements, but in this it is specifically mentioned that in this question we will have only one maximum element in the array. Okay, so now let's just see the example, that is input and output. So first example is we are given an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have given the length as 7. So sorry, I forgot to give the length. So length is also 7. So we have to print the maximum element and its index. So if we will traverse the array, we know that this maximum element is 7 in this array. And what is its index? Its index is 6 because the index starts with 0. Okay. So I hope now this first question is clear to you. The first example is clear to you. Next is we have an array of length 4, 23, 45, 82, 71, and now we have to print the maximum element inside this array and the index of that maximum element. So what is the maximum element? Maximum element is 82, we have printed, and on the next line we will be printing the index of this element, that is 2, because 0, 1 and 2. So this is what our example input and output looks like. So I hope now the question is clear to you. Now let's just quickly move towards the approach, that how we will be approaching this question, and then in the later part of the video we will see how we will writing the actual code in the exam. So let's just now see the approach. And guys, now if till now you have not liked and subscribed this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button, because more such videos in future will be coming on this channel. Okay, so let's start with the approach part. So we have an array, example array of 1, 4, 3, 5, 2. Now we have to find the maximum index of the element, or maximum element, and the index of that element. So how we will do? What we'll do, we will simply traverse this array. We will simply traverse this array and we will take two variables. One variable will store the maximum index of the maximum element. Next will store the actual maximum element. That is, what is the maximum element. Now we are taking two variables. Now by which value we will initialize them? Okay, traversal will happen afterwards. But while we are declaring two variables, from which values we should initialize them. So let's just assume that our max element is the first element of the array, and our max index, that is the index of the maximum element, since it is the first element only currently we are assuming, so therefore max index will be 0 only. Okay, so this is how we will initialize our these two variables, that is max element, which will store the maximum element that is present in the array, and maximum index, that will store the index of that maximum element. So initially we have initialized with the first value, so max index will be 0 and max element will be 1. Now what we'll do, we will now traverse the rest of the array, that is starting from I equivalent to 1 till the length of the array. Now we will traversing that array, and after at each iteration we will check whether our current element is greater than max element or not. Okay, so if that current element is greater than the max element, then we will update our max element, and again we'll update our max index also, because max index denotes the index of the place where maximum element exists. Okay, so let's just start now how we'll do it. So as I told you, we will be initially iterating over the array starting from I equivalent to 1. So now at I equivalent to 1, what is our current element? It is 4. So we will check, is 4 greater than our max element? So answer is yes. So we'll update this max element with the current element, that is 4. Now again, once we are updating this max element, then we'll update our max index also. So max index will be the current index, that is 1. So this is 1. Now we'll move towards the next element. So now next element is 3. So is 3 greater than our max element? So answer is no. When our current element is not greater than our max element, then we'll not do anything and we'll simply move ahead. Okay. Next thing is 5. Next number is 5. So is 5 greater than our max element? So answer is yes. So 5 is greater than our max element. So we'll update this max element with 5, and we'll again update our max index also, that will be the index of current number, that is 3. Okay, now we'll move towards the next element, 2. So is 2 greater than our max element? So no, 2 is not greater than 5, therefore we'll do nothing and we'll move ahead out of the loop. So once we are moving out of the loop, we have traversed entire array. Now the value inside this max element and max index will be printed. So first of all, we'll print the max element, that is 5, and on the next line we'll print the index of that max element, that is 3. So this is our output that should be printed. So I hope now the approach is also clear to you. So now till now we have discussed the question and the approach, and even if still you have doubt, let's just now move towards the coding part. All the doubts will be sorted there. Okay, so now let's just move towards the coding part quickly. Okay, so guys, again I'm telling you, if you have not subscribed this channel till now, please subscribe it, because more such videos will be coming in future. Okay, so as I've told you earlier that the only we have to implement the function, we do not have to take anything input or anything as output. So we are given a function in which we are given two arguments, that is int arr and int length. Okay, so what we'll do, we will now implement this function, we'll start implementing this function. So we will write first base case, that is if our length is double equivalent to 0. So if our length is double equivalent to 0, then it means that there are no maximum element present and there are no minimum element. Oh, there is no index for the maximum element. So we'll simply do nothing, we'll simply return. Now begins our main part of the logic. So again, I've told you we will take two variables, one is max index, next one is max element. So we'll initialize both of these variables with the first element of the array. So max element will be initialized with arr of 0, and max index will be initialized with the first element of the array, that is 0 index. Okay, so I hope now this thing is clear to you. Next, I've told you that we will be iterating our array with I equivalent to 1 and I less than length I plus plus. Okay, and after each iteration we will be checking whether our current element is greater than our max element or not. So again, I have told you whether we will be checking whether our current element is greater than the max element or not at every iteration. So if it is greater than the max element, then we'll update our max element, okay, with the current element, and we'll again update the max index also with the current index. And if now this situation is false, that is if our current element is not greater than the max element, then we will do nothing, because it will not go in this if condition, we will do nothing, we will simply move towards the next iteration, that is the next element will move. Okay, and after this loop is over, in these two variables we will have our max element and the index of the max element, and we will simply printing out, first we'll print out max element and then we'll print out the max index. Okay, so I hope now the entire question and the code is clear to you. So guys, this was it for this video. More such videos will be posted in future, so make sure to subscribe this channel